Hey guys, first regardsman here, and so I'll be talking about the easiest build for the Vanguard class in Space Marine 2 patch 12 to push into higher difficulties. Now, the Vanguard is usually the class I would recommend for new players anyways, mainly because he has access to a ton of healing effects with stuff like Adrenaline Rush and Unmatched Zeal, on top of the fact that a lot of his damage reduction perks like Conviction down here are automated upon armor break, and other options are just off parry, which are really easy to pull off for a lot of new players, unlike fencing and even balanced weapons. Now, for the primary selection here, I do take the Melter Rifle range variant, mainly because the Melter Rifle is really good for armor regen, stagger, and healing on top of the Vanguard perks, and it's also one of the easiest guns in the game to use currently, so really good for this build all around. Now, for the perk tree here, I do start off with the perk Decisive Reload, performing a finisher on a Majora's level or higher enemy with this weapon restores ammo by 1. This just partially solves your ammo economy on the Vanguard, and Vanguard's ammo economy kind of sucks, so you definitely want this perk. Just keep in mind, you do have to have the weapon equipped to actually trigger this. If this one's in like your back pocket and you have your sidearm out instead, it will not trigger, so be aware of that. Next perk here is Rapid Health. When your health's below 30%, killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores your health by 10%. This is just more healing on top of your healing perks. This may be a little bit redundant on the Vanguard class, but you know, HP healing is HP healing. That's a pretty rare effect to come by. Next perk here is Trick Shot. Killing 5 enemies with 1 shot restores an armor segment. The cooldown is 30 seconds. Now, it's pretty easy to use this perk off cooldown because one-shotting Hormigons, one-shotting cultists, and stuff like that, that is a really easy thing to do with the Melter Rifle. You might have a little bit of trouble with Zangors, but either way, it's going to be easy to pull this one off over and over. Next perk here is Great Might, over here into the perk Divine Might for a 10% damage buff. And then we take the perk here, Extended Magazine, into the perk First Shot. The first shot of your reload deals 10% more damage. Then we grab the final 2 perks here with Retaliation, and of course, our Perpetual Fire for a fire rate increase. And that's pretty much all there is for the Melter Rifle portion. Now, for my secondary, I do take the Heroic Heavy Bolt Pistol, mainly because you don't suffer from ammo economy too much on this build. If you really want to, you can pick up the Heavy Bolt Pistol ammo reserve relic here instead, or even like an Inferno pistol. That is up to you. All of these will work, but for this build, I'm taking the Heroic because I took this build to Chaos, and using No Help is Coming against Chaos Spawn is actually super useful at the moment, because unfortunately, Chaos Spawn, for whatever reason in this game, they don't like to get their reinforcement calls interrupted at all points, so using this perk is like the only way to properly do that, or at least do it consistently. Now, for the perk tree on this, I do take Divine Might first into the perk here, Perpetual Penetration. Then I grab the perk Increased Capacity, Extended Magazine, and Death Strike. After killing a Majora's or higher enemy in melee combat, you deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. Now, this will trigger on a melee finisher, not just a melee kill, but the big issue with this perk, on this build at least, is that you have to choose between triggering this one or the perk up here, Decisive Reload, because both of them require you to have the weapon equipped during the melee finisher, so just keep that in mind. If you want to have the ammunition restoration, you have to have your Melter Rifle equipped. If you want the damage buff on your secondary, you need to have the secondary equipped. And also, if you swap off your secondary while this is active, it will lose the effect. So a few downsides on this one, but not too bad. It's still worth taking. Next perk here is Great Might, up here into the perk Discipline. When you have low ammo, you deal 25% more damage. A 25% damage buff for just shooting your gun more is really strong in this game. I actually like this perk a lot. Alternatively, you could go down here into the perk Able Damage here, which gives you a 20% damage increase on a class ability use. The Grapnel and the Vanguard is used over and over, so you can take either one of these. They're both pretty strong, but it's up to you. Next perk here is Strong Finish, into the perk here Headhunter. Then we pick up the perk Gunstrike Reload, and of course Tactical Precision, because headshots dealing 20% more damage. That is all you really need on a Heavy Bolt Pistol anyways, because losing 10% non-headshot damage, like, you really aren't shooting body shots on this gun no matter what, so just take this one. And for the Inferno perk tree, if you want to take this, you can build it this way. I think this is the overall best setup, and that's pretty much all there is for the secondary options. Now, for my melee weapon, I do take the Argent Edge Heroic Combat Knife. This is the best fencing weapon in Space Marine 2 currently, in my opinion, mainly because it will parry interrupt any enemy on the first attack in their combo chain, no matter what. There are a lot of attacks in Space Marine 2 that will not give you a gun strike on the first parry against Sword Warriors, melee Terminators, and things like Lictors even at times, so having this will save your life where you might get sunlocked otherwise, making it the overall best defensive tool in the game. Now, the heroic perk effect here is called Scathing Retort. The riposte window is shorter, but each riposte deals damage. All this means by riposte is parry window, so your parry window is a bit shorter. You will get a little bit of damage on the parry, and the actual parry window here feels a lot like a block weapon, where you pretty much just have to parry the enemy the moment their attack hits. That may be a bit more difficult for some players, so if you do feel more comfortable with a standard fencing option on the other weapons like the Power Axe or Chainsword, you could definitely take those, but overall the Argent Edge is the best defensive tool in the game. Now, for the perk tree on this, I do take the perk here, Armored Strength first, moving here into the perk Sharp Impact, mainly because the perk down here, Kinetic Energy, is not super good on this weapon because you only have a 3+ speed here, which does make it like the slowest knife of all the Relic and Heroic options in the game, and because of that, you don't get as many consecutive heavy attacks here anyways, so picking this one up instead for like an AoE on your Skull Crushers, which are like your normal heavy attacks, is way better in my opinion. Next perk here is Perpetual Strength into the perk here, Combined Onslaught. I usually find myself doing light combos of this weapon far more often than the heavy attacks, like I said before, so a 10% buff to this is pretty nice. And I move here into the perk Tide of Battle, up into the perk Shoulder Bash, because I just prefer the Shoulder Bash over the distance stab on the lunging attack. And the final perks here are Reeling Blow into the perk Extremis Slayer and Hard Target, though alternatively you could skip over this perk, take Shadow Stab, maybe even like go here into Perpetual Strength and go all the way down instead for Shadow Stab with like heavy onslaught and stuff like that, but that is up to you, and that's pretty much all there is for the Argent Edge. So for the Vanguard perk tree, we're mainly building this to be as automated as possible. So number one, we take Upper Hand. This just gives you no knockback for 10 seconds on a parry, block, or dodge. That is really all you need to avoid most stun locks from things like Sword Warriors and stuff like that. There are things that will still knock you over and kill you in this game, because the way that no knockback works in Space Marine 2 is that it turns a attack that would knock you over into a normal stagger, and attacks that would only stagger you will do nothing instead. So really good for like those base level stun locks. Next perk here is Conviction. When your armor is fully depleted, you take 25% less health damage for 10 seconds. A 25% health damage reduction here is very substantial. This will make you significantly tankier, so definitely pick this one up. Though if you want to have an easier time with your parry window, you could take Duelist. Next perk here is Consecutive Execution. Killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores equipment charged by 1. The cooldown is 90 seconds. This is by far the best perk in this column here. Retribution is a pretty terrible damage calculation, and the perk down here, Home Reactions, is pretty good, but a 90-second frag, crack, melt a bomb, or shock nade, these are top tier equipments pretty much all around. Even the frag grenade on 90-second cooldown is still pretty useful, so definitely pick this one up. Next perk here is Unmasked Zeal. Melee finishers of Extremis or Terminus level enemies additionally restore health by 30% for any team member. This is like one of the most popular team perks in the entire game already, so most of you probably already take this on your builds, but here it's kind of a no-brainer. Next perk here is Restless Fortitude. After a diving kick, you take 40% less range damage for 10 seconds. This will make you very tanky when you're going in against like Rubric Marines and stuff like that. Well, some of the most annoying attacks in Space Marine 2 are from Enraged Warriors or Enraged things like the Rubric Marines, so having a 40% range damage reduction while you are going in on top of Conviction, on top of Persistence, we'll get into later, or excuse me, Thrill of the Fight, is a very strong effect. Next perk here is Tip of the Spear. Enemies hit by diving kick take 15% more range damage for 10 seconds. This is just a free damage buff on a kick. You know, it's not the best perk in this column, but as far as like ease of use is concerned, it is by far the best option for that. Next perk here is Thrill of the Fight. After a per time parry, block, or dodge, you take 20% less health damage for 5 seconds. This is super easy to trigger, and also trigger every single time you do one of these effects over and over. And what I mean by that is, even if the 5-second duration is ongoing, if you parry, block, or dodge, you will get a reapplication of the 5-second duration. So really easy to have this up pretty much 24/7. The final perk we take here is Adrenaline Rush. A melee kills of Majoris or higher enemies restore your health by 5%. HP restoration in Space Marine 2 is really good for a margin for error increase for obvious reasons, so definitely pick this up for the quote-unquote easiest build. And for the prestige perk selection, this one's pretty standard as well. I take Battlefield Awareness first for a 10% range damage buff while within 8 meters of an enemy, because you are a Vanguard with a grapnel launcher, so being within 8 meters, that happens pretty much all the time. And you also have a melter rifle, so definitely a place you want to be. Final perks here are Fortitude, Launch Restoration, and Restoration, because more sources of armor restoration in this game is always good for damage reduction. And that is pretty much all. And that is pretty much all there is for this build, guys. The Melter Rifle has been one of the easiest options for Vanguard since the game came out, and that is still true in patch 12, and hopefully this build guide helped you. And if you like content like this, subscribe for more, and if you want to watch me live to come hang out or ask me questions about the game, you can find me here on YouTube or on Twitch with a link in the video description alongside a link to my community Discord. And as always, take it easy, thanks for watching, bye. This game will go to year 6 or 7, you think? Space Marine 2 is going to get as many years of content as it takes to get to Space Marine 3. And it's insane to think it won't. I mean, if the god-awful year 1 roadmap was enough to greenlight year 2, sky's the limit, okay? Oh, you're making a 6-7 joke, I get it. Ha ha ha. 6-7 jokes. I see. Should be a kill on him. And we're only like 100% out of ammo almost, but that's okay. That is okay. Alright, so when you're low ammo, you pretty much always find an ammo cache here. Yep, there it is. Find a melt a bomb. Wow. Really blessed. As you can check the rock spot over here. Yeah. Is the patch there yet? No. The only official release date info for this patch so far is Q2. It's just Q2. I got a soccer ball rifle run and see how you do with that being empty half of the fight on sniper. I mean, I definitely have a soccer ball rifle video on this channel with sniper if you want to watch that. I don't know if I'll do a run today for that.
You're here. Now what, Captain? Talassa, you need to acquire the Astra Militarum demolition codes required to deploy and arm their ordnance. Source one from any soldier you see, alive or otherwise.
Do you think the game will ever have a class with the same ability as Titus? Probably not. Titus's ability is pretty boring. Just heals you. I would say like pretty much all of the class abilities in the operations are doing that already. I could detonate that, but As far as like healing abilities go in Space Marine 2, I don't think it's likely we're ever going to see another healing ability added to the game. So Apothecary is probably not ever coming. I think Saber knows they were a little game breaking, and they don't want to do it again. They've nerfed pretty much all of them. And the only one they ever did anything to that was positive was on Match Needle. That was after they nerfed the other one.
Captain, we are ready to get the demolition started. Proceed to the Prometheum refinery and complete the demolition preparations.
Let's get a heroic sniper run today. I'm too bad to use it, so I enjoy watching it. I am going to update one of my heroic world sniper guides for this patch with the Power Gladius, because you can pretty much one-shot any boss, one-shot any ranged enemies. One of the most versatile builds in the whole game. And Sniper now is to be better next patch, at least in Siege mode. I feel like you won't have to DPS race as much, hopefully. Last one I can find is from 8 months ago. Was Stalker Bolt Rifle Sniper. I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if that fucking sniper build is still almost exactly the same, because I haven't done like anything with sniper in 8 months, pretty much. Nothing notable, anyways. If you're struggling with ammo and sniper, just use your, I mean, are you taking the versatile precision prestige perk? Because that's how you get ammo. At that point, all you're doing is managing your secondary ammo and minor skills. What symbol shows up while fighting a Majora's mean? That's just a lock on this game. I always find it funny when people ask that question because it's in the base game tutorial, so I know for a fact that every single one of you is interacting with the mechanic at least once. Every single person that's ever asked that, I know I can forgive them for forgetting because it was not exactly used multiple times after that. It's been a long time. Are doing any XP changes to patch 13? They haven't given us any information on the actual balance changes beyond like that Vanguard's probably getting touched, so no. Nothing of the sort in that one. Yep, I'm doing everything I can, but eventually a boss room comes with 12 heavies plus boss. There's never enough ammo to cover that without chaff to gain ammo. I don't know. I mean, which Stalker Bolt Rifle are you taking? ends up in the melee spam, but you do have to melee a sniper. It's not just a pure range class. No class in this game really is, except for heavy. Every class interacts with range at some point, or used to be melee at some point, where it's like just parrying.
Are running out of time.
And the only exception to that in sniper might be the
Reaching the facility now. You are making good time. We are going to need it.
I'll appreciate you holding down the fort with SM2 content, bro. Streaming every day and uploading many times too must be very time consuming. It's appreciated though. It ain't too bad. But thank you for the kind words.
Codes to prime the bomb and finish its deployment into the crude Prometheum well. Cautiously, if you know what is good for you.
Magazine in, magazine out. True. FTG has House of Lost Chainsaw on Vanguard. Pretty good with all the melee stuff you can do. I wouldn't say it's like a top tier build in the game, but it's definitely not bad. Ammo variety, 4 to 5 shots to kill one warrior, only has 71 shots reserved, 10 plus heavies, plus a boss, just ain't enough ammo. I mean, I've soloed with sniper on more ammo and efficient weapons than that many times. I assure you it is enough. I mean, like a question, it just is. It's just an ammo economy management problem.
Climbing is not permitted while in operation. Violent dismantling of generator 4 in progress. Punish the ignorant conquests. Generator 4 is suffering mechanistic complications. Provide service before components are harmed. X-axis aligned. Lying on the side's will.
I'll play a bit of each class. Bullet Prestige 1 as a new player except Protect Marine. Which would you recommend Prestige first? I find leveling the Prestige grind a bit grim. Well, it is grim. The unfortunate truth. The Prestige grind in Space Marine 2 is certainly grim.
Robin, going for generator 1. Overcrowding alerted generator 1. Unauthorized personnel. Observe your duties.
Is Raptor XQ build the best for Vanguard? Yes, it still is. I'll update all the builds come patch 13 for all the modes, but I'd be very shocked if that was not still the best. It'll probably just be the best plus like extra goodies on the Vanguard class. Bro, what's up, Cab? Are you excited for patch 13? Thank you for taking the time to respond. Your content single-handedly satiates my SM2 content needs. I'm glad I can help. There'll be much more. There you go. Oh yeah, I'm excited for patch 13. I think patch 13 looks to be the best patch in this whole game. It might not be as popular as Tech Marine because new classes are just genuinely stupidly popular for horde shooters. But we'll see. It might be. You never know. They were probably taking an anniversary patch to get a patch as big as Second Marine again. I just don't know how enticing a rework to a mode people have had for a year on one map will be.
Attention. Crane drive is jammed. Perform the necessary cleansing to resume operation. Crane jammed. Drive train restored. Begin the course of locomotion headaches.
FTG, how would you feel if they added in multi enemy executes in Space Marine 3? I mean, I'll take it. It's not that we're starting to get into like Dynasty Warriors territory though, where it's just like, alright, now Titus execute all 7 lictors in front of you.
Captain, it is done. Now let us watch the Xenos burn. There is an observation platform overlooking the Cryptomedium fields. It will make a good vantage for your ambush.
That's faster than shooting a button or pressing a button. Finally, it's over.
Smells like fresh munitions.
Just watch Space Marine 3 open up like Halo 5 Guardians, where they just jump out of the plane. I mean, I guess that's kind of how this game started out, but like they jump out of the plane again. Except this time there's like hyped up music about how cool they are. It's like this is just Titus, guys. This is Captain Titus, and like you have this like fur cape blowing in the wind. Hopefully the Vanguard changes aren't too drastic as they're off old Vanguard mains. Well, I mean, like, what the fuck can they possibly do to the class and throw off a Vanguard main? I imagine that's like, I mean, they haven't done anything to the class that's ever made them worse to play. It's not recently. I imagine all they're going to do is some quality of life additions. Is it fair for me to want the Power Fist to be nerfed only because it's too strong yet so boring? I mean, there are a lot of other weapons that are actually, like, in some scenarios better than that one, so I don't think it's really necessary anymore. Like, Thunderhammer in Siege mode's better. Better than Power Fist for Chaos groups. Power Axe can be better at times for Stagger and, like, Shield Bash builds. I also don't think Saber, like, Saber's not really prone to nerfing weapons unless they're like egregious, and the only time they really did that was the grenade launcher. They haven't really touched anything since.
We have arrived at Nozick's facility.
The new update making Siege mode not as boring should be cool. I'm curious to see how it'll go. I don't know how well a Siege mode rework's gonna be without a new map. We'll see. Vanguard is fine. I mean, you can definitely use some quality of life updates. Normally the weakest class in the game. shit back up. Oh, wow. Thanks. Are there new rewards for Siege Mode to make it worth playing? I mean, there are finally ordeals around it for Ultra Grinds, so like that will probably be helpful. But as far as skins go, you are getting new skins for like colors and stuff like that for a couple of the weapons, but maybe even more colors for Siege as well they talked about. But for the most part, this is like part one of the two-part update for it, it feels. Because we are supposed to be getting a new map eventually as well. The main addition this patch is Beyond the Siege changes, are like the new heroics and the operation customization overhaul. How many hours do you have in Space Marine 2? At least 1. I see more people use Vanguard than Heavy. Well. Saber's only nerf is a grenade launcher, and it seems like it was entirely because to create a negative experience for your teammates. I agree. I mean, when they're at that point in the game's life cycle, I would just leave games to someone having a grenade launcher because I wouldn't have to do anything. You wouldn't even get to play at all. You just kind of be sitting there and watching them blow up everything. Like you'd run into a horde and like 5 grenades from your teammate would fly in and kill everything. That was also when the game had fewer enemies in it, so it was even more noticeable.
Dig in. We need that bomb triggered for optimal yield. Orbital scan estimates the bulk of the swarm will not be in position for a while yet. Keep your heads and get it done. Ah! Ha ha ha! Good. Be calm. I wondered how I might pass the time.
Around 800 hours, I go into hibernation during the updates. I think it's a lot of this game's player base goes in hibernation during updates, but because the game doesn't really give you a long-term grind outside of leveling. So you either play because you're super dedicated to the gameplay loop, or you just like 40k, or you only come back for the major updates. I mean, every horde shooter's like that pretty much, but like this one especially doesn't really give you much outside the leveling experience to go after. For now, that could all change the match. I will say the Accolades grind did a great job. Like the whole Hard Stratagems weekly grind, that definitely helped player retention. You can see a distinct increase in player counts. Or like actually the average player count in year 2, not just because of new content, but also because they had more to go for it. Inferno might be the most played mission. I think it's the best hero to adopt.
Never turn down fresh ammunition.
They'll add a new difficulty tier. They said they don't want to add in more difficulty as a tier. I think hard stratagems kind of like crafts. So like absolute's the baseline, and then hard strats up that with like a slight damage taking, damage increase modifier on top of the actual stratagem modifiers themselves. So no, this is probably the hardest the game will get. We get like hard siege. You'll have modifiers to that. Don't really intend to add in more beyond. They need to show PvP some love. I mean, it's in expansions, but the reality is, it's not really all that monetarily feasible for them to. Well, it's feasible, but I should say it's not like really incentivized for them to do that because the game's player base is on PvE. And even if they made PvP significantly better, I think most of the player base would still be on PvE. I just don't think arena shooters are that popular anymore. Like, ask yourself, if you're Saber Interactive, do you want to spend all of your dev time making a PvP update for potentially under 10% of the current player base, or just focus on the PvE operations to make more money? I'm honestly more shocked we get the PvP updates we do. Those companies would have like completely abandoned the boat by now.
The swarm is almost fully committed. Be ready for my mark.
You've never played PvP? Well, there you go. I played PvP with Jeff a lot back in the day. Like, I say a lot. I played a little bit. It was okay. Like, you have to be dedicated to the actual,
What in damnation is going on down there? Blow the damn thing already!
Fuck. Not cool, bro.
I still have 1 million targets on Auspex. Explain yourselves.
I guess we'll do that.
Cutting them as quick as I can, Captain.
We'll use our 1 armor.
This is Decimus. Wish us dead bastards. Tentative biosites down 90% and full. Swarm annihilation confirmed. Excellent. Move to extract. Thunderhawk arriving at evac point. Wrap down and ready. I've not died to our own trap.
I guess we'll pop that.
Extraction complete. Returning to off.
Saber only entertains PvP because it lets them break the Chaos Skins they wish they could add. Yeah, that's probably true. That is probably unfortunately true.